This is That's What She Said. My name is Beth Kelling, and I'm going to talk about my family's company, Sherman Buildings, and also one of my favorite topics, leadership. Being in business with my dad, brothers, and nephews in a male-dominated industry has taught me new ways to show up and speak up. It has sharpened my voice and strengthened my purpose. There's nothing like building something real with the people that you love. In 50 years, we haven't heard of a single one of our buildings go down, because at Sherman, we don't just talk about erections. We make them last forever. Aaron, welcome to That's What She Said.
Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
Very good.
So how long have you been at Sherman for?
Close to 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what do you do?
I am an MIP inspector and a mechanic, so I take care of all the commercial vehicles and make sure everything's safe to be on the road and make sure all our vehicles are in good shape.
Keep us safe.
Yeah.
How,
Keep everyone safe.
How did you get into mechanics? Is that something like I could never do? Like, my brain just hurts when I think about all the different little pieces and parts, and like, you have to have a special brain for that.
I've always been, since a little kid, I've always wanted to take apart bikes and stuff like that at home. I remember in kindergarten even, we had an area that we could take apart radios and like TVs and stuff.
At your house?
And no, this was at school. This was part of my kindergarten class that it was a table and people would bring in stuff that was broken or whatever, and we were able to take it apart and kind of try and figure out, even in kindergarten, first grade, how it worked and how, different parts inside. And so I've always been kind of interested in, how things work. And so I think that's a big reason that I enjoyed mechanics.
Yeah. What school was that?
That was in Hastings. That's when I lived in Hastings.
Okay, is that like a fancy school? I've never heard of that for kindergarten. That's
no,
so awesome.
I don't know. It was kindergarten or first grade. Yeah, it was really young. It was just in the classroom, and in the mornings we could, play with the stuff or do whatever we wanted or break it apart if we wanted to. So it was just interesting.
That probably shaped your brain a lot. So then from then forward, was it like, I'm getting into mechanics or something like that?
I guess not all the time. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated high school. I just didn't know. So I kind of tested the waters, went around, did different things for a little while when I was just out of high school. And then I came to Sherman, and the more I worked at Sherman, the more different things I was able to do. I've kind of been around here for 17 years, so I've been around doing different things.
What did it start as?
I started out as a material handler, a yard guy, loaded trucks and unloaded trucks, and got jobs ready for the crews and all that. So
just kept learning more and more about mechanics until all of a sudden you are the mechanic. You're the guy.
I guess. Boss said, this is what you're doing next. So.
And so you get pulled in a million directions because you're like one of the most important people and everybody wants your attention. So how do you do that? Because like when I wake up in the morning, I look at my day and I have it planned out, and I can pivot and I can figure things out, but I think you have to pivot more than anybody because, flat tire, like the crew can't get to their site without you showing up to the side of 35 or DOT inspection or the lift broke down. So, I mean, you're like the VIP.
Maybe it has to do with my ADHD. I have no problem switching directions and going another way. That usually doesn't bother me. Usually I can, this is what I have to do. Okay, we're going to get that done now.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very valuable thing that, not to have ADHD, but to be able to just divert a different way is very helpful.
Well, I think ADHD manifests in so many different ways, and you just have to, because like part of it's a superpower too. So if you can figure out how to use it for you instead of against you, then it works out.
Yeah.
So how you handle stress changed over the years?
Well, how I handle stress now, I think is a lot less. I mean, I guess handling stress when I was younger just meant being, I don't know if I would say angry or upset. Now I feel like more now I can explain what I'm angry or, stressed about, and I can release it, talk about it. And I think just talking about it helps me. And so I think learning that over the years is just to talk and, say, this is what I'm stressed about, and, let people know, and the people that need to know
Yeah.
what I'm stressed about or why I'm stressed.
Yeah, communication and stress go hand in hand.
Yeah,
That's
and
so
when
true.
somebody understands it, then it feels like it's almost a release, so.
Learning to speak clearly to people so that they understand what you need and why you need it, because just telling somebody to go do something without explaining why they need to do it,
Yeah,
they're probably not going to do it correctly.
right.
So.
Not the way I want it done.
Yeah, for sure. So just slowly learning that process.
Yep, explaining it a lot more, and yeah, and knowing what you can expect out of, a new guy or anybody, you should know what they're, what they're capable of.
Yeah, the better you know somebody. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay, so let's say Sherman gets struck by lightning and is turned into a time machine. What year would you want to go back to?
Oh, man. 1999, I think, just because I talk about it all the time of Y2K and the stresses.
Were you scared something was going to happen?
Yeah, kind of, because our family was, we were prepared. My stepmom,
preppers?
yes. My stepmom had a lot of water in the house. We had a lot of non-perishables. We were ready for anything to happen. So it was kind of a turning point in our life, kind of just like, this is what we need to do, and to know that you might need to prep for that, even though it didn't happen, is still might happen, or could happen someday, that it's a good idea to prep or think about things like that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I always watched, what was that show with Bear Grylls?
Oh, isn't it called Bear?
Wild or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Man versus Wild.
Man versus Wild.
Yep.
And I watched that all the time, and I was like, yeah, because if the world ever crashes, at least I have some skills. I didn't retain any of it.
Yeah, I don't remember anything. I probably wouldn't be able to catch a fish that he caught barehanded, whatever he did.
Yeah.
But even, living out in the woods, I don't know if I could do it. It would take a lot more than the skills I have right now, I think.
Yeah. So do you remember New Year's Eve, 1999? Were you watching the clock, just waiting for everything to fall apart?
Yes. We were all, as a family, we were watching the ball drop, and we didn't know what was going to happen, and we were just kind of like, or is it going to be the next morning,
Yeah.
And then nothing happened, and, you just kind of, okay, all right, go about your business now.
Yeah.
Go back to school.
Yeah. Not a bad thing to prepare for, though. So were they preparing for anything around here at Sherman?
At that time, I don't know. I wasn't here then.
Oh, you weren't here then. Okay.
I was still a little boy.
Okay. What was your favorite year at Sherman? What year would you go back to?
Oh, at Sherman. I think, I don't know. I may 2008, 2009 when I started here, because I learned so much, and it was so exciting learning different things and meeting different people, and I feel like then my job was a lot more diverse. Like I was everywhere. It was whoever needed me, I was there. I mean, it was, you go here. This is where you're needed. Go here. And so I think I learned a lot, and I think I just retained a lot. It was just exciting because I was retaining so much, and that's probably my ADHD. Just more. Learning different things. So
Yeah. So for somebody who starts off in a position like that, where they're like doing a little bit of everything, or they're working in the yard, what advice would you give them to get to where you got right now? Because I think, you can't just wait around for it to happen. You kind of have to take charge.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me yesterday, "Oh, I don't have authority to do that." And I said, "Well, there's nobody that's going to give you the authority. You just have to take it."
Yes. Yeah. I guess my biggest thing is just listen and learn. To hear somebody and retain it a little bit. I mean, that's a big thing, because I see it time and time again where you can tell somebody one thing numerous times and it still doesn't get retained. And so I think a big thing is just listening and watching and doing it, you know, your way, but the way we tell you, you know, it needs to be done right. You can do it your way,
Yeah.
but let's all make sure it's, you know, right together and you're doing it to the best, most efficient way possible.
There's like an art to it of doing
Yeah.
it your own way, so you can add a little creativity and
Yeah.
your own thing,
Yeah.
but doing it the right way and the
Yeah.
way that it needs to be done.
Yeah. Kind of out there I mean, especially in the yard, is a game of Tetris. We tell everybody that if you know how to play Tetris, you probably can bundle and you can probably figure out how to load and, you know, stuff like that. So that's a big, you know, just learning shapes and,
Yeah.
and being able to stack it together, you know.
And multitasking, but also problem solving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so important. Okay, so do you know the show Ted Lasso?
No.
Okay, it's one of my favorite shows. And he says in there, you know what I do with tough cookies? I dip them in milk. So,
Soften them up a little bit, huh?
yeah, so who do you think at Sherman is the person that needs to be dipped in milk the most? And I'd say, let's count to 3 and say at the same time who we think. I have 3 people in mind. But I'm going to say, okay, I know who I'm going to say. Do you know who you're going to say?
I don't know if I should say it.
You can say anybody.
Yeah.
Then I want to change my answer because I bet I know who you're thinking.
You know who I'm thinking, don't you?
Okay, I'm changing my answer. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Brad. I thought Derek would be easier for you to say than Brad.
Yeah, Brad definitely could be dipped in milk a little bit too.
And Pat, I wanted to say you. You were my first answer. It was Pat. Pat, Derek, and Brad. Let's put them in a little milk swimming bowl
Let's
together.
just soak them down in some milk, huh?
Yeah. What is the most MacGyver thing you've ever done to fix a problem on the spot?
There is so many things that I would consider MacGyver. That one's really tough. I fix things like MacGyver all the time. It seems
it's like an everyday thing.
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
when I need to do it, it's whatever is safe and able to be done at the time. I feel like, and sometimes that's super MacGyver. I mean, and people are like, "How you? Okay, just do it."
Yeah.
You know, so.
Comes in with the problem solving skills, which you
Yeah.
just have to have.
Yeah.
I wonder what exercises we can do to be better at problem solving. I'm horrible at like puzzles or mind tricks. I don't do stuff like that, but I suppose I should figure something out I can do to
Yeah.
better problem solving skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you are so good at pumping people up. Who pumps you up?
You know, a lot of people pump me up. I think a lot of people at work, I mean, positive people pump me up. I like to see smiles. I like to see people in a good mood. And that's, so even pumping people up and putting them in a good mood or hearing them laugh pumps me up, gets me going and gets me excited for the day. You know, I'll walk in the door and throw out a hoot or, or just even start clapping and get people just to,
Yeah.
and that's just, it makes me feel good. And
Well, it releases oxytocin.
Yeah,
if you see
absolutely.
somebody do something, if you do it yourself, or somebody does it for you. So you're releasing oxytocin all over the place,
Yeah,
Aaron.
yeah.
That's why you're so fun. And now your son, Landon, is your apprentice here.
Yeah.
How's
yeah.
that going?
Very good. He's learning a lot. Years ago, I probably wouldn't have been as easy, but he's grown up a lot in the last couple of years. And so to see him here excites me. And, he wants to learn. So that really, that's exciting.
So great.
So we'll see where it goes.
What's a valuable lesson that Andrew, the founder, has taught you?
Andrew has taught me so many lessons. But probably the first one would be not to believe everything Andrew says. You know what I mean? Like, he could tell you something that's complete BS, and he's gonna let you believe it. until somebody else goes, no, wait, what do you, no. So not to take everything, he's an honest person. I'm not,
Yeah.
but not to take everything he says and take it right and straight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly how it's,
And
that's
then wait until you meet Ed.
yeah,
'cause
absolutely.
He's going to do the
Absolutely.
same thing.
I've told the story numerous times of how Andrew told me we drove by a building. I had to go help him with something, and we drove by a building and it was falling down. It was an old barn falling down. And he said, yeah, we're going to reskin that next week. So put new siding on it and make it nice again, pretty much. And I kind of just thought, what? No way.
Mm-hmm.
And I believed it. I mean, I only knew him for maybe a month or two, so I believed it. And kind of thought about it the next day. I'm like, that's crazy. I want to see it when it's done, And I brought it up to somebody else, and they're just like, no way. Well, months later, Ed said the exact same thing, going by the exact same building. And I finally then I just like, okay, this is, it's just some things you can believe and some things you can't.
Yeah. My dad never did it to me growing up, but I remember Ed doing it to me. Just those weird things that you're like, is he being serious or not?
Yeah.
And then I realized, yeah, they're just trying to get a reaction out of people, and I do things to get a reaction out of people too.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just don't understand what the other person is doing.
Yeah, definitely. What is a career that you would be horrible at?
I'd probably be horrible at being a therapist. I don't think I'd be very good at it. I can listen to people and hear people, and I can feel bad for you, but I don't know how, I don't know. It's just, that's one thing I've always thought about is a therapist would
Do you think you're not good at giving advice? Because a lot of people don't need advice. They just want to be listened to.
I know. I hear it. Like, I've learned that even growing up is like, you don't need to fix everything, with somebody else. You don't need to fix everything, but even just to be that ear to hear. And maybe that is a lot of therapy, and maybe I would be good at it.
Maybe the thing you think you'd be bad at, you'd end up being amazing at.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I talk more than I listen. So I'd be talking more than hearing, probably.
Same. You just had a video go viral. How many views does it have now?
I saw yesterday there was like 7.4 million views.
That's
or something.
so crazy.
I think it's slowing way down now. I mean, it was pretty wild there for a while. 1 million a day or 1.5 million a day.
Yeah, you could just see the numbers going up. So
Yeah.
crazy. We'll have to add it in on this episode so people can see it. Yeah, so fun. How does it feel to be such a star?
It's great because nobody even saw my face. Nobody even knows who it was.
Yeah, so
They
people
might
aren't,
know by the hair, but they don't know by the face.
people aren't stopping you on the street.
No, not like when I had a billboard.
Oh, yeah. Who was the most encouraging to you when you were growing up?
I would say that there was a lot of encouraging people, but I had a teacher in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade that was a small engines and welding teacher. He was a police officer and a teacher at the same time, and he was a great teacher. He was great at knowing what you needed and knowing how to teach you in your way. And he was always inspiring. He was always, he'd always, just give you words of encouragement and tell you what, you're doing this great. You're great at this, and this, we can work on this. And so, and I always looked up to him. For some reason, he was just he was just an older teacher. He was old. He was ready to retire, but he always had something wise to say or something that, to teach you. And he knew how everybody needed to be, it seemed like he knew how everybody needed to be taught.
Yeah, because everybody does need to be taught differently and listened to differently. So that's a superpower to be able to react differently to different people. What was his name?
Gary Lipsky, Mr. Lipsky. Yeah.
Good. Is he still alive?
I believe so. Last I heard, I talked to another officer that was in the same town that he was in, and I was told he retired, but he was still alive. I think that was probably 5 years ago. So he's probably around, just probably relaxing on a lake somewhere. But,
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
What Sherman Awards have you won at Christmas?
The ones I remember I won saving the day the most or something.
Like superpower,
Superpower
something they
saving, yeah.
made. Yeah.
Yep. So I had that one and always smiling or always in a good mood. I've had that one too. So I've had, I think there was a couple, maybe one more or two more that I've had, but probably got the loudest.
Maybe next year if you haven't yet.
Yeah.
So I think it would be more fun if oil and grease was like hot pink. Could you do some science experiments and try and make that happen? How fun would it be if you're just like walking with hot pink all over you all the time?
I wouldn't have to wear a safety vest if I was covered in hot pink, right?
Right?
But
Right?
I
It just
really
sounds more
try
fun.
not to cover myself in oil or grease.
Oh, you
every
do
day.
good. You don't. Actually, I never see you in oil or grease.
And then I'm not doing my job.
No, you're just doing a really good job of keeping everything clean.
I try.
Every time anybody walks into the mechanic shop, I think they're stunned at how clean you keep it.
Try. I think that's a big thing. I like to keep things clean and I like to keep things organized.
That's part of the ADHD too,
Yeah.
like the good part.
And that was one thing I loved out in the yard too. Is Andrew always he always wanted everything organized and clean. He wanted it to be a presentable lumberyard. Hard to come by, you know. So he always liked it when it was clean, and that was, I mean, him inspiring me, you know, just appreciating me to, you know, when he says thank you, and you notice by the founder of the company, he says, hey, I notice what you're doing, and I appreciate it. Thank you. It's big, and I think it goes a long ways.
Yeah. And you being somebody who wants to stay organized and him wanting that just like fits together so
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And I mean, who wants to be someplace that's disorganized? It's
Right.
just it's hard to have faith that
Stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Who do you think is most likely to get in trouble for driving too fast in the yard? You can call him out.
You know, I think it's going to be safety guy Jeff, just because safety guy Jeff is always calling out everybody else. So
Yeah.
I don't have to call out safety guy Jeff.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather have a trailer go missing or have to change a hydraulic hose in the winter?
I've done the hydraulic hose in the winter.
Yeah, I heard it was pretty rough.
It was pretty rough.
It's a
I
tough
can
one.
find trailers, and we have insurance.
Yeah.
So I think I'd go with let the trailer go missing, and I'll get another. We can always get another trailer.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So why don't you like sweet food? Because Dave says it's ruining your guys' relationship that you never want to eat sweets.
I don't think it is. I think he's in denial. I think he can eat my cake. I'll eat.
Okay.
I like.
He just wants to experience it with you. It's more fun to watch a movie with somebody. It's more fun to eat fun food with somebody.
He can have the cake, and I'll have the popcorn and beef jerky.
Okay.
That's. I don't know. And sweets, I can't say I don't like all sweets. I mean, I'll eat candy. I'll eat Twizzlers, and you know, like
you did
that.
get a sweet all candy cake this year.
Yep.
Different kinds. So
Yeah, so I'll eat sweets. It's just those cakes and the pies are just
and the donuts.
yeah.
Seems
I'll
like
eat
donuts are here the most.
Here and there, I'll eat a donut, but not as much as some people will.
Yeah. Is there a mistake you've made that you learned so much from? You were happy that you made it.
I've made a lot of mistakes. I think I would say not realizing that you can better your mistake. Tomorrow is going to be another day. Tomorrow can be a complete reset for you. So yeah, if I make a mistake today, it can happen, and I'm going to try not to do it again, and hopefully I don't. You know, I'm going to do the best I can not to. But I think to remember every day you can change your outcome, and
Yeah.
you know.
And nobody else is thinking about it the next day as much as you
No,
are. Like
no.
you're the only one taking it as seriously. Usually in my case anyways.
You're right. And Derek has told me that before. I'd mess something up or I'd make a mistake on a building, and Derek would say, you know, I can see that you're upset with this. Like I appreciate that. That's knowing that you're going to try not to do it again instead of I made a mistake. Oh, well, somebody can get it out there, something needs to be delivered or whatever. It was never like that. I think I beat myself up more than other people do. And I think some people notice that. And,
Well, good leader moment for Derek of like recognizing how much you're beating yourself up
yeah.
and saying something about it, because that means that he's paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay, and most importantly, you're getting married in a couple months. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you excited?
Yes, very excited.
Did you figure out what you're going to do on your bachelor party yet?
We have not figured it out. We're still deep into thought. Elizabeth's got her plans, and she must be way better at planning than me, because hers is all ready, and she's pretty much planned the wedding. I help out here and there, but I'm finding porta potties and tents, and she's planning everything else. So.
Yeah, that's a good list for you to work on.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
So.
Good. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Thank you so much for listening in on That's What She Said. If you are as passionate about leadership as I am, I would love to hear from you. Please go to my website at that'swhatsheshed.live to share feedback, ideas, and start the conversation of coming on the show.